Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. Just kidding, it's literally the first video. Look, here's what's going on here. This channel is going to be called The Infinite, okay? Now, on this channel, we're going to go through a bunch of different Apple news, and we're also going to kind of review different Apple products and tech products as they come out. Alright, so everybody, thanks for showing up here. Let's jump right in, shall we? Here we go, straight into Apple news. I'm going to my channels and topics here, down bottom right, following Apple. Alright, let's see what we got here, folks. By the way, it is April 13th, 7:58 p.m. Alright, let's see what we got here. Universal touts record-setting digital-only debut of Trolls World Tour. Don't care. 5 new Apple Watch Series. Okay, now this one is actually interesting to me. I have had the Apple Watch Series 3, didn't like it, I kept the receipt, I returned it. I've had the Apple Watch Series 5 Nike Edition, didn't like it, kept the receipt, returned it. This is the Apple Watch Series 6. I'd really like to have the Apple Watch, but it's missing a few key features for me. If you want to learn more about that, drop a comment down below. By the way, like and subscribe, guys. That's really going to help me out. Now look, 5 new Apple Watch Series 6 details leaked. Let's see what we got. Rounded rectangle display. Now that's the first thing that's going to tell me, okay, maybe this year is not the year for me and the Series 6 Apple Watch. Okay, because the rounded design is really where it's at. Look, I've got, in fact, watch here. This is the watch that I've worn about every day for about 5 years. I love it. Kenneth Cole, New York. It's a fantastic watch. It's round. I don't think that the square design looks as good on me. That's just me. So that is the first thing that's going to tell me, you know what, maybe this year the Apple Watch Series 6 isn't quite the watch for me yet. Rounded rectangle display, according to the verifier. Okay. Limited backwards compatibility. What does that mean? Apple does its best to bring its operating systems to update. At some point, it is not practical to roll out an update because of hardware limitations and performance issues, such as the case for Apple Watch Series 2. Apple will not include the Series 2. Oh, okay. So if you have a Series 2 Apple Watch, you can't get watchOS 7, which is going to be coming out this year. Yeah, watchOS 7. So, I mean, basically, if you have an Apple Watch Series 2, I would wait personally until the Series 6 comes out. Series 5 was an awesome upgrade. The always-on display adds, like, I don't think that you should get anything before the Series 5 because you don't have always-on display. And at that point, it's not worth it. Like, that's a feature that you have to have in your Apple Watch. So I'd either get the Series 5 or I would honestly wait until the Series 6 because the Series 5 wasn't much different from the Series 4 other than that always-on display. So I'd wait until the Series 6 comes out. But that's watchOS 7, so it's too slow. Okay, that's fine. Underwater mode. Now, this might be cool. Personally, I wouldn't use this. I'm not a big underwater kind of guy. But some of you are. And in that case, maybe this is going to be a big deal for you, the underwater mode. I think that they've talked about before adding this to iPhones as well, where you can touch the screen underwater. And so I think on the Apple Watch, that would be even more practical than it would be on the iPhone. I think. Okay. Mental health monitoring. Now that's actually really cool. Let's see what it says here. The Apple Watch may include, by the way, this is iDrop News. I don't want to give them a rating. They're believable. Like, I'd trust them, but I wouldn't bet the farm on them, for example. You know what I mean? If you follow CoinX on YouTube, I'd bet the farm on that guy. iDrop News, I don't know if I'd follow him. Oh, by the way, I meant Twitter, not YouTube. Okay, the Apple Watch may include new mental health features to complement its physical health monitoring. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting for me. In future versions, the Apple Watch may be able to detect stress or even a panic attack. The watch will offer guided breathing and other stress-relieving activities. In response, Apple will log these incidents so users can track when they happen and hopefully aid in any diagnosis. Okay, pretty interesting. Now, I heard in a report from Everything Apple Pro today, actually, that this is not going to be coming to this year's Apple Watch or like watchOS 7. You know, this is either next year or in 2 years. And so it's interesting. I don't know if that's coming that soon though. Prototyping 2 versions of Touch ID. Okay, so Touch ID in the Apple Watch. Personally, I think it's cool. I don't think that it's absolutely necessary because you have your watch on your wrist anyways. Whenever you take your watch off your wrist, it makes you put the passcode in next time you put it back on your wrist. And so, I mean, like, as long as it's on your wrist, it's not really, you don't need a passcode, right? Because it's there. So I don't see the big advantage of Touch ID, other than maybe you wouldn't have to do the passcode, I guess. But it's literally once a day that you have to do that, if not once every other day if you just leave your watch on overnight. So I don't know. It's fine. But okay, so that's the Apple Watch. Pretty cool. Apple Watch Series 6. It's fine. Okay, let's see. as Apple moves forward with iPad OS, Microsoft drops the ball again. It's like notorious that Microsoft is terrible at tablets, which we love Apple for that, honestly. Apple's great. Now this is interesting. HomePod now runs on tvOS. Here's what that could mean. Last month, Apple released the HomePod software 13.4 update. By the way, I just picked up a HomePod the other day. Fantastic. I'm loving it. Now there are some features. If you want to know the features that I'd like to see in the HomePod, drop a comment down below, because like we really will talk about that. But the HomePod's great. The sound quality through the roof, and I love just walking into my room and being able to talk to it. It also acts as a home hub, which is fantastic if you don't already have an Apple TV or HomePod. I would highly consider getting one of those things, because having a home hub is a big deal. We can talk more about that later, but it makes a big difference. Okay, now let's see. The same thing, only different. The first thing you need to know is that watchOS, tvOS, and the HomePod software are basically iOS at their core. Yeah, so what sets these apart is what it's intended for. Honestly, I think the HomePod makes way more sense on tvOS than it does iOS. iOS is a very like touch-oriented experience. tvOS is a little bit more meta. Like, you're controlling the TV with your remote, you're controlling the HomePod with your voice. Both of those things, I mean, you can technically touch the HomePod, but you don't really do that. And so I think that it makes a lot more sense on tvOS. Plus, I mean, if you're looking at the sense of AirPlay, right? I don't know if that talks about this, but a big thing about the Apple TV is AirPlay too, right? And so if you consider the HomePod as like one of the biggest proponents of AirPlay too, then it makes more sense to be on tvOS than it does iOS. I think that makes way more sense, but I don't think that like these are going to be very big changes. The other thing is new hardware ahead, and I think that Apple does need to release some new HomePods at the upcoming WWDC in June, because this one started at $350, it's now $300. You can get a lot better deals than $300 at like Best Buy and other stores. They go for sale. I've seen like $200, and so I would consider getting one of those. But if you're trying to get one for every room, it's not super practical to buy a $350 speaker for every single room in the house, right? That's not super practical. That's why the Amazon Echo Dot has been so successful, is because like it's this little, you can get it for like on sale for $20. Pretty sure my siblings got it for $20. Put it in your room, it can do everything the HomePod can do, and like kind of more, honestly. The only difference is that you're not getting the same sound quality. Plus, I mean, a HomePod's sweet because it's Apple, so you get like the cool factor. Plus, it looks a lot better, right? But the thing is that Apple needs to release a HomePod Mini, right? Like, that's kind of in the naming scheme already. We have the iPad Mini. They're talking about doing an iPhone Mini this year. I would do a HomePod Mini, because if it's cheaper, even if it's $80, and it's competitive to the Echo Dot, and it's the HomePod Mini for $80, and the Echo Dot probably starts at like I've seen it on sale for $20. Okay, let's find out exactly how much it is. Okay, Echo Dot. Okay, so I have the Echo Dot speaker right here. So it says it starts at $50. It's currently on sale for $30. Okay, that's the third generation. Oh, I think that's probably like the latest generation. Okay, I think that Apple could sell a HomePod Mini for $80, starting at $79.99. and reasonably compete with the Echo Dot at $29.99, because people are going to be paying for the Apple brand. People are going to be paying for quality, and I'll bet you anything that Apple's HomePod Mini is going to be made better than the Echo Dot, and people are going to be paying for the Apple ecosystem. Okay, it's going to work with everything. It's going to be your home hub. It's going to be everything. The HomePod Mini. Okay, so I think that if you make a HomePod Mini at $79.99, it could reasonably compete with the Echo Dot at $29.99, or especially $49.99, which is what apparently it typically retails for. So I think that's a big thing, and it's true, the new hardware ahead. I'll bet that they release a HomePod 2, modeled like this one, maybe a HomePod Pro, and then maybe the HomePod Pro would replace this one. Maybe you have a HomePod in the middle at like the $150, $200 price range, sell the HomePod Pro for $199 or $299. And then you could do a HomePod Mini. I mean, they'd probably do it for $99, and then do the HomePod 2 for $199. But I think that you should do the HomePod Mini for $79 to really compete with the Echo Dot, because when you start saying $100 versus $30, that's a lot bigger deal than $80 versus $30, especially when you're saying Apple versus Amazon. So we'll see what they do, but that's kind of what I think. Okay, let's do one more article here. Okay, let's do another article here. Apple Watch Series 6, tell when you have a panic attack, we already got this. Stimulus payment, okay. Apple sacrifices new SE design. Okay, what is this all about? Apple sacrifices new iPhone SE design for iPhone 12 success. Well, many will be excited about the upcoming launch of Apple's iPhone SE. You guys, I'll bet that comes out this week. I'll bet you the farm that comes out this week. Well, many might be excited. The flagship remains the September headsets. The presumptively named iPhone 12 family will pack in the latest technology such as 5G. Okay, I think that people don't care about 5G as much as everybody thinks that they do, but whatever. LiDAR assisted photography, I think Apple's going great places with that. They might not be there right now, but I think that they're going to get there. And then let's see, a faster processor and the new design. So that's what this is talking about. So the iPhone 12, I mean, if you haven't already heard this rumor, then like, I don't know, like maybe you don't watch the other rumor channels. Here's the thing. Do you remember the iPhone 4 and the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 4S, iPhone 5S as well? It was the squared off boxy design, kind of like what the iPad Pro looks like right now, but it was even more industrial and cutting edge. Even the iPad Pro, even though it's boxy, it still has like rounded-ish edges. Okay, the iPhone 4 through 5S, those were some of the best looking iPhones that Apple has ever released, in my opinion. And apparently the word on the street is this year's iPhone 12 is going to be designed after the iPhone 4 through iPhone 5S kind of design. Now that would be incredible. What's more likely to happen is that it's going to look more like the iPad Pro with the boxy design, but it's still going to have the rounded-ish edges because, I don't know, that's just like kind of where they're headed. The iPhone 4 through 5S, that was super industrial. I mean, you had the cutting-edge corners, like, just so awesome, so cool, and like the little plus on the volume up sign, like that was so awesome. I don't think that they're going to do that. I think that it's going to look a little bit more modern and sleek, but with the boxy design, kind of like the iPad Pro. Honestly, I think it's going to look like a minier iPad Pro, plus, of course, made out of stainless steel and glass rather than aluminum, which is, it's going to look really good. My plan is to get the best iPhone 12 Pro I can, and so, like the Max, iPhone 12 Pro Max, and the rumor is that there's going to be a 6.7-inch version of that phone this year. So, looking forward to that. Hey, I'll be back here in the next couple days, and let's review some more news. The rumor is that the iPhone SE comes out this weekend. If that's the case, honestly, I think that Apple is going to be like playing with OnePlus a little bit, and that they're going to release it on Thursday because OnePlus has their new phone coming out in a little bit. And if Apple does it on Thursday, that's really going to mess up their release cycle. So my guess is iPhone SE on Thursday. Honestly, I'm not too excited about the iPhone SE. Like, it's cool. I love product launch weeks. I love launch weeks, but the iPhone SE 2, it's the iPhone 8. And I have an iPhone 8. You know, I know that, like, I should have, like, the iPhone 11 Pro or something, but I'm holding out for the iPhone 12 Pro Max because I really think that's going to be the iPhone to get. Although the iPhone 11 Pro, super impressive. So anyways, this is obviously my first video on the Infinite. So of course, let me know kind of like what you want to see going into the future. Subscribe, share this video. That will mean a lot to me. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in to the Infinite. We'll see you next time. Peace.